What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another Roblox Studio tutorial. In this tutorial, I will be showing you guys how to make a data saving system for your game. Now, I'm going to use the inventory system that I made in the last video as kind of a demonstration of how this data saving system will work, but really you can use it for whatever you want. I'm just using the inventory system that I made in the last video as an example. But I also will provide other examples for you. And of course, if you want to use the inventory system that I made in the last video, it will be linked in the description of that last video for you to get. And also, this data saving system in itself will be linked in the description of this video for you to have. But of course, as always, I recommend that you stay and watch so you can learn and try and pick up on what I'm saying to help make all this make sense to you so you can continue your development journey. Now, with all that being said, let's get into this tutorial. All right, guys, little editor's note. Something very important that I forgot to show you how to do in this video to actually make your data saving system work is in Roblox Studio, in your game, come up here in the top left, click on File, and click on Experience Settings, and then click on Security, and make sure Enable Studio Access to API Services is enabled. That's incredibly important for making your data saving system work. All right, so if you're using my inventory system, then there will already be a script in Server Script Service called Player Added. But if not, then just make a script in Server Script Service. You can call it whatever you want. I'm actually going to rename this to Data Saving. And even if you are making this from scratch and you're not using my inventory system, I'm redoing this entire script. So this doesn't really, you don't need this as a base. It's just kind of just I'm remaking this entire thing. All right. So first thing you're going to do is let's get the data store service. This will be the game, go and get service, data store service. And then you're going to get your data store. So local data store will be equal to data store service, go and get data store. And this data store is where all of the data for your game is going to be stored, basically. So I'm just going to call this one I'll call it testing, but you can call it whatever you want. And just know that all the data will be stored on this on this key right here. So say I join right now, or not right now, but if I made this entire data saving system and then I joined and I got things in my inventory, then if I went ahead and I changed this to testing 1, then all my data would be reset. But if I put it back to just testing, then I'll get it all back. So basically, whatever this thing is in here, it doesn't matter what it is, that is going to hold all the data for that specific key. But I'll just leave it as testing for now. All right, so now we're going to make this little thing. I don't really know how to describe it, but we're going to make a function. So local function wait for request budget. Then we're going to get the request type. And what we'll do is we'll do local current budget equal to data store service. We'll get request budget for request type, and then request type. And current budget is less than 1, do current budget will be equal to data store service, and get request budget for request type, and task.wait 5. Now, what this does is I'm not 100% sure exactly what it does, but from what I understand about it, it's when we call this basically just requests, it waits until the game can actually load your data, if that makes sense, I guess. I don't know. But now, once you have that, let's make another function. We're going to call this, let's just call this setup, or let's call this load data, and we'll get the player. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the data key. Local data key will be equal to, let's make the data key something like, let's have it be the player.userid and dot key, or short key. This basically is just like our way to differentiate each player's like data and how we can save it. Now what we can do actually is we can copy this line and let's paste it in here. Actually, let's rather than just calling this inventory, let's call it the inventory folder. Okay, and we can also just come down to here and have this connect to the load data function. So that way, whenever the player joins, their data will be loaded through this function. Okay, now let's do local success, comma, return value. And let's come down here. Let's repeat wait per request budget nm.data store request type dot get async, then success return value be equal to pcall data store dot get async, comma, data store and the key, or the data key. Okay, and we're gonna repeat until success or not players find first child player dot name. So basically what this is we're gonna do, basically we're gonna keep looking for this player's data until we find it or until they leave the game. And now what we'll do is we'll say if there is a success, then if we find their data, then if return value will be equal, let's do if return value is equal to nil. So if there is no data, like if there's like the first time joining, let's set up like a base like template thing. So return value be equal to a table. And this is where we'll like write all the data. So inventory, I want an inventory table, and this will be just equal to a table. And now if they do have data, right? So if, or we can just do like, come up here, we can say if return value is equal to nil, then we'll set it up. But else, if it isn't equal to nil and they do have data, then what we can do is we can check for item name, comma, value in pairs, return value dot inventory. So I'm gonna loop through the inventory that we are getting from their saved data, and then we will create a new instance, and this new instance, this will be equal to instance.new int value. Basically, it's exactly what we're doing when we actually add an item down here, right? So new instance, and then new instance.parent will be equal to player.inventory. New instance.name will be equal to item name. New instance.value will be equal to the value. And then one more thing that we'll do is if there's not a success, then we're gonna kick the player from the game. So player colon kick, and we'll say there was an error loading your data. Please try again later. All right, nice. So this is basically a whole load data function, right? And by the way, guys, at the end of this tutorial, I will show you like how to actually add your own, like, say you want to have like money or like level, basically any other value or folder or anything else that you want to save. I'll show you guys how to do that as well. Right now I'm teaching you guys how to save folders. So inventory folder could also be like shop folder or like settings or whatever else. All right, now let's make the save function. So local function save data, and we'll get the player. And we can actually call this when they leave. So players.player moving connect and save data. And what we want down here is we're gonna need the data key. So So we can copy that up there and paste it down here. Then we will create the inventory table. We go to this, and what we'll do is we will fill up this inventory table with what we have in the player's inventory. So we'll loop through their inventory. So for underscore comma item in pairs player dot inventory get children do, then we'll add this item to the inventory table. So inventory table, and we'll add the item's name, and we'll set that equal to the item dot value. And now we'll set up the data table. This is what is actually going to get saved, equal to this. Then inventory equal to inventory table. So this data table is what we get when we're getting the return value up here. So you can see this is what we're saving. We're saving the inventory. And when a player joins for the first time and they have no data, we're setting up like this template for them. So that's basically what this is doing and what this is doing. And then we actually have to save the data. So we'll do local success, comma, return value, and we'll repeat wait for request budget and item.datastore quest type.update async, and success return value equal to p call datastore update async, and then datastore, then the data key, and then the function, and we'll return the data table, because we're returning the data table because that's what we want to get from the return value. And we'll repeat this until there is a success. Nice. And one more thing that we'll do is we'll make a function to handle like a shutdown. So when it basically, if the game, like if there's a shutdown or Roblox like crashes or the game crashes or something like that, whatever happens, this function will handle that. So local function on shutdown. And if actually, okay, let's come up here and let's get the run service. So local run service, the game get service run service. And then if run service is studio. So if we're in Roblox Studio, then we'll just like, let's just wait 2 seconds. Task.wait 2. Then else, so if this is an actual game, then let's make a bindable event. So let's call this like finished. The instance.new bindable event. Then local all players. We have to get all the players. So this will return a table of the players. So this will be equal to players, get players. And then let's get the number of players. So say like left players. Hashtag all players. Then it's a loop through all the players. So for underscore player in pairs, all players do, and let's do a coroutine.wrap function, wrap a function, and we'll save the data of all the players. Then left players minus equals to 1. Then if left players equal to 0, then finished equals fire. And we also have to add parentheses right there too. Then finished dot event won't wait, and then yeah. Oh, then we also have to connect this to when the game actually crashes. So game will bind to close on shutdown. And let's also add just like a quick little thing right here, just in case. So for underscore comma player in pairs, players, get players, do coroutine dot wrap, then load data, and we can send through the player. All right, and that's basically it. So if I were to test this game right now, I can show you it will work. So we can see I have nothing in my inventory right now. And let me just add like some item, I don't know, just name it test, and it'll give me like 2 of those. So test, this item is in my inventory right there. We can see it right here as well. Close out of that. If I leave the game, and I join back. Then we can check my inventory. There it is. And right here as well, test, and there's 2 of them. Nice. And now, let's say you guys want to have, like, if you rather than just saving a singular value, or not a singular value, rather than just saving like a table, like an inventory, if you guys were just want to save a single thing, like money, right? Let's do that. Let's make another folder. Let's make a folder called leader stats. And you don't have to do this. This is just somewhere I can hold money inside the player. This will be equal to a folder. Instance.new folder. And leader stats.parent will be equal to player. Leader stats.name will be equal to leader stats. Cool. And also leader stats, if you make a folder inside the player called leader stats, all lowercase specifically, then this is actually what shows up like in the player leaderboard on the top right. This will actually display whatever value you put inside it. So say someone has like $10,000 or like 10,000 money in game, this would display that if you put the money value inside leader stats. So let's make a money value. So local money with instance.new. Make an int value. Money.parent equal to leader stats. Money.name will be equal to money. Okay. And then let's come down here, right? And inside this little return value, when we're setting up like the basic template for when a player first joins, let's just have money equal to like 0. They start out with 0. Actually, let's have them start out with like 100. Yeah. Okay. Actually, wait, if you wanted, now that I think about it, if you wanted this to work, if you wanted to actually set up values to like be the starting values, then you wouldn't have an else statement. You would just actually come down here. You'd say if return value dot inventory not equal to nil, then you do that. And then if like, that's my bad. And what we can do for the money, rather than making this if statement right here, is we can actually include it in when we're setting the value. So money.value will be equal to if return value dot money is not equal to nil, then we'll set it to return value dot money. But if it is equal to nil, then we will set it to 100. So yeah, actually, now that I look at this, we really don't even have to have this. Yeah, I'm just going to delete that. We don't even need that. It doesn't really do anything. If we're checking everything down here, then there's no point in having that. Yeah. If we're just going to set everything down here, then there's not really any point in having that. I mean, actually, no, let's have it, because this actually kind of makes it easier to see. And then we don't even actually need that because we're setting everything up here. So yeah. No. Ignore me. With this is good. This is good like this. So that way, this will set all the default values. And then we can come down here, and if they don't have any data, then these will be their default values. Their inventory will be empty. They'll have 100 money. And if it's not their first time joining, then return value will not be equal to nil, and all their value will be saved. Whoops. Yeah. Now I know what I'm saying probably does not make sense if you're just learning all this stuff kind of like for the first time, but it works. So yeah, now that would be this load data, but now we actually have to save the money. So we can come down here, and what we can do is we can just say in this data table thing, we just add a comma, and you can say money is going to be equal to player.leaderstats.money.value. And then that'll just save. But yeah, now if we test, I should have 100 money. Well, hey guys, it's future me again. I'm just gonna redo this part of the video because for like 15 minutes straight, I just made a bunch of mistakes. So what I ended up doing is when I was making mistakes, I just kind of change this around a bunch. And this, what it already is for you, actually works perfectly. But I wanted to show you guys, like, if you wanted to have a player, say, start out with something in their inventory, then I want to show you how to do that. And I kept like messing it up. So in the inventory, like in this little, like right here, when the player first joins, is just set like a preset value. So say you want them to have like a knife and 2 knives or something like that, or like 1 knife, or you want them to have like a gun or whatever you want to write here. Just have a preset value in the inventory and have it set to a number. Okay, so if I come up here and I reset my data to something to be like random, I don't know. I went through a bunch of data keys, so I have to reset something at all. So this is my first time ever joining in this data key. You can see I have 100 money. I have 1 knife in my inventory. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. That's the entire data saving system. If you made it to the end, I really appreciate it, honestly. This is gonna be in the description, like the data saving system will be in the description for you to get. Please like and subscribe. That would mean the absolute world to me. And yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.